Hi guys, it's Joe back here with another video, and today we are going back and we're doing a bit of a analysis and overview of my new PC build, which I did complete last week. So after running it for a few days, I have been on holiday a little bit as well during that time. We're going to go into a bit, see how it performs and my thoughts and overall impressions for how much I paid and the quality and performance which I think that I've personally got out of it, and whether or not it was worth me changing from Intel to AMD and all that lovely jubbly, which is always an interesting question whenever it comes down to computers, Intel versus AMD. Now obviously it's going to be my general opinion, which means it doesn't mean it's fact, it's just what I think I got for the money, if I think it's good or not, and would I go AMD again. Well, let's start off with some simple benchmarks in games just to see how the temperatures and how the frame rates decreased or increased in certain games. So starting off, let's go in with everyone's favourite on PC, and that is Battlefield 3.
It's like a cage wrapped around my brain. You seem to have the key tucked away beneath the saves. Walk away, you say you've had enough for us. So staring through the window, we can't beat again. Open up your eyes and take a breath, oh breathe.
Okay, so after seeing some of the benchmarks for those two games, and they are two very good games, Battlefield 3 showing up some really nice FPS on this system. I didn't know if I was actually going to get an FPS drop, you know, because a lot of people say that the FX AMD series are not as good for gaming as the i5s, and I went from £150 retail priced i5 2320 at 3GHz and decided to go with an AMD for £125, so I did actually step down the processor range, so I wasn't sure what to expect, and to my pleasant surprise I was actually met with similar, the same, or more FPS in a lot of the games that I play regularly. Now, as we all have heard and I'm super hyped about, is the fact that this CPU is generally a lot faster in everyday activities. It's faster doing things like this, Photoshop and rendering videos out. It's a lot faster at that, which I do praise the CPU for, and that's part of the reason which I got it, because starting college soon it's not going to be all about gaming for me. So, you know, is there any point in me sticking with an i5 when I want to get something that can perform the same in games, but also give me that little bit edge as well when I'm out of game doing work or other studies or things like that? So that was my kind of thinking behind getting an AMD. That, along with the fact that a lot of the next generation consoles hardware is AMD, which means a lot of the games are going to be probably not majorly, but kind of small kind of time being optimized between AMD rather than Nvidia and Intel. I'm not saying that obviously Intel's going to fall behind, because Intel have some fantastic CPUs. In fact, in the higher end of CPU and computing, it's pretty fair to say that Intel do win 9 times out of 10. However, for this, which is a budget build for me that will going to last me, and you know, is going to see me through the rest of my time through college before I start going into employment or university. And by that time, if I go into university, well, assuming I haven't made it big on YouTube and all that stuff, because, you know, you can't see that happening personally. But, you know, it's one of those things where you can always dream, I suppose. But yes, so pleasantly surprised with this CPU and the way it's performed with my graphics card. I have checked for bottlenecks in the system. Does it bottleneck me on certain games? Yet to find out on next generation games. I will be playing a lot of Rome Total War 2, which is notoriously quite doesn't really take good advantage of threads or cores in games, so I do realise that the cores in this processor are a lot weaker than the i5, which I've just switched over from, so it'll be interesting to see actually the performance decrease, or it may even give me a performance increase depending on how the Creative Assembly have actually optimised the games of how many cores and threads. So it's all going to be subject to change and subject to see. One of the best things about having an AMD setup, I suppose, is now the partnership between AMD and Battlefield. Or DICE, should I say, the creators of Battlefield. They had a partnership actually that they released in a press conference not too long ago, that they'd been working on Battlefield as partners specifically for Battlefield 4 and have optimised it a lot for AMD hardware. So obviously Intel's going to perform pretty well, so in NVIDIA, but having that little edge towards my system now, and it really didn't cost me a lot, this system, it's a very, very large bonus. So whether or not I'll be sticking with AMD in the future, it's subject to change and see. At the moment I'm still struggling with the temperatures of the CPU, don't know if that's just generally because of my CPU cooler. I have a G-Lid GX7, which was supposed to be pretty nice, but I do average around the socket temperatures of around 40 or 38 to 43. Probably if I went properly idle and didn't do anything on it, it'd probably stand around the 38 to 37 degree mark. However, when I'm surfing the web watching videos, it does usually goes up to around 43 degrees and kind of stables out there, which is okay for me, not too bad, but I do like a cool system, a nice looking system. So whether or not that's something which is down to the processor, because I realise that the AMD FX are quite power hungry and do let off a lot of heat, I do not know, but we'll soon find out in the future. And when I get to the bottom of what the problem is, or if it's just the cooler itself and I need to upgrade, then we'll soon find out. But as a whole, for the money I paid, I ended up spending about £100 into my budget altogether after selling some extra things on the side and things like that, and I managed to get myself a really nice gaming setup here that should last me for the next 2 years, with one GPU change in that time. So very well money spent, and I think price for performance wise AMD cannot be beaten at this moment in time with the FX series. However, there is better and more powerful alternatives out there for Intel if you're willing to pay a little bit more. But if you're just a budget gamer like me, just want to play some of the latest games on some nice hardware, then AMD definitely is a way to go, that I found out, you know. I was a bit unsure, but still have my doubts at certain things, you know. Certain things this processor does lacking compared to my other one, but all in all, you can really see that the AMD processor line is only getting better, and hopefully next year or the year after, where they come out with the new 28 nanometer processors, then we'll be able to see more efficiency and catching up to those i7s, which have seemed to kind of sped off in the distance a little bit when it comes to performance. So hopefully we as AMD people will hopefully see that, and hopefully we'll be backwards compatible with our motherboards, so we'll be able to take advantage of that as well, because AMD love backwards compatibility. So we'll soon find out. But all in all, for the performance in game, I'll probably give this an 8 or 9 out of 10. Performance generally on day-to-day applications, I can't really match this CPU, so I'm probably going to give it a 9.5 or 10 out of 10. But as it comes to temperatures and power consumption, that's where this chip does let down a little bit, and I think I'm going to have to give it about a 6 or 7 out of 10. That's just my personal ratings. If I had to give ratings, I'm not very good at ratings. I'm not like a reviewer or don't know too much about this, but for what I do know that it's running a little bit on the hot side. But apart from that, fantastic CPU, and for £125 really, I can't really take any shit out of it. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and tune in for more videos in the future.